The Plague of Madness. Now, it's not something I find myself talking about very often, as it's quite gruesome and as dark as it sounds. And yes, believe it or not, something similar exists in Jurassic Park and was hidden away from the public. Even the most highly ranking officials and Jurassic Park scientists didn't know of its existence. That is, until now, because I'm going to be exposing that today. Now, immediately I know what you're thinking. How can this horrible zombie plague even be present in Jurassic Park, and what even is it? Well, a huge warning for you, this episode will be pretty dark, gruesome and gory, so if you're a person of a nervous disposition, best you turn this video off and go to bed. Now, with that being said, I need to first tell you what the Plague of Madness is, so you got context so we can talk about Jurassic Park's infectious version. You see, as one of the most terrifying things in dinosaur media, the Plague of Madness originated in a show called Primal, and it's one of the most deadliest and gruesome viruses I've ever seen. You see, the plague causes a wide range of drastic mutations and symptoms in its victims, affecting them both physically and mentally. It spreads and overtakes the host with astronomical speeds. It's extremely aggressive, and the victim loses all sense of rationality. They start to develop sickness and pain, their skin turns yellowy green and begins to fester, the eyes water, and mucus begins dripping from their nose. The victim loses pain responses and starts blindly attacking everyone around them while shrugging off any injuries they receive. They're highly aggressive and will stop at nothing to take down and kill anyone in sight. Truly is the thing of nightmares. And I know what you're thinking, how does this relate to Jurassic Park? Because we never see this virus at all on screen. And you'd be correct in thinking that, up to a certain point, because it is in the books, and I believe is coming in the new Jurassic World REBIRTH movie. Now, immediately, I'd like to dispel, I don't think we're going to have zombie dinosaurs in Rebirth, although I do believe we're going to have a virus of some sorts, because you see, Jurassic Park had a similar virus to the Plague of Madness. It was a virus called the TREX virus. It was kept a huge secret in the books, and it was heavily implied that the Costa Rican government even knew about it. And believe it or not, this TREX virus bears a striking similarity in some of its symptoms to the Plague of Madness. But before I get into the TREX virus, we know that the plot of Rebirth is going to feature a team of mercenaries heading to a brand new set of islands, which feature dinosaurs, in the hopes of extracting DNA to develop a cure for a disease which has been ravaging the entire world. Seems awfully suspicious that they have to get it from dinosaurs, and just like in the book, dinosaurs were the originators of this virus. And this TREX virus, short for Disease X, is a pathogen first introduced in the Michael Crichton's novel, The Lost World. And funnily enough, they don't actually know what it is. The early symptoms are very much like the Plague of Madness: abdominal cramps, bloating, vomiting, seizures, abnormal mood and behaviors, from paranoia to confusion, mental and cognitive deterioration, just like the Plague of Madness, memory loss, confusion, hallucinations, developing tumours in their body, which develop at an unnatural rate, and to public knowledge, there is no cure or vaccine for the TREX virus. And to top it all off, is hugely contagious. An attack by a dinosaur carrying the TREX virus would likely be fatal. And all of this was in Jurassic Park. And what is extremely interesting here, and what is extremely peculiar, is that it appears to have afflicted two species in the very beginning, the dilophosuaurs and humans, because people initially on the island started off with having unstoppable headaches. And at the end of the novel, Richard is worried that he was bitten by a compy and that he may have the virus himself, and obviously the novel ends. A huge point to note here is that all the dinosaurs were eventually infected on the island, including the velociraptors, and a single bite from any infected carnivore can and will affect other people and animals. This would literally ensure the re-extinction of the dinosaurs and any other animals as we know it. This to me sounds awfully lot like a plotline we could see in the new movie. I mean, this was a plotline in the novel of The Lost World, and sounds awfully lot like a real-life disease which the Plague of Madness is based on, rabies. Now, is it possible that the dinosaurs in the movie of Jurassic World have this virus? Because we 100% know, because of the books, they had it there, although it was contained on Isla Sorna. Or so they thought, because you see, shortly after its initial creation, the disease ravaged the entire population of the Dilophosaurus, having a case fatality rate of 100%. And transmitted by bites, the disease spread between individuals and humans, which, unaware of the infection, spread it to Isla Nublar's population. Because of this, the Dilophosaurus became extinct again on both islands, and anyone infected with the disease was condemned to a slow, horrific death by mental degradation and immunological weakness. And what is extremely interesting here is that the disease's transmission doesn't just require a living host, it can be spread on carcasses because the dinosaurs were eating carcasses of the dead ones, thus catching the DX virus. But here's the real question. We know all this happened in the novels. Is there any evidence to suggest it happened in the films? And if so, does this now affect Jurassic World Rebirth? Because seemingly, Rebirth seems to be all about getting a cure for some type of virus, which is going to wipe out all of humanity and the animals. Well, let's take a look at Jurassic Park. The novel says that all Dilophosaurus were eventually killed off by the virus. In Jurassic Park, it would definitely be in the early stages because we see Dilophosaurus, if that was the case. And looking at the Dilophosaurus in the movie, it doesn't seem to exhibit any signs, well, visual signs anyway, although you could say it was slightly confused at Dennis Nedry, but that's probably because it was just Dennis Nedry falling down a hill, although it was strangely aggressive towards him, but not at first, so initial signs say it wasn't in the Dilophosaurus. However, it might have been subtly alluded to in the original film, because obviously we have two sick dinosaurs, the Triceratops and Brachiosaurus. I don't think that had to be the DX virus though, because I think that's more to do with their ailments involving another example of InGen having no control over them. But here's the thing, I believe they already moved the infected dinosaurs off of Isla Sorna and off of Isla Nublar. And why would you say that, you ask? Well, look at the new film synopsis. They've gone to a new island with new dinosaurs where they have to, and I quote, secure genetic material from the world's 3 most massive dinosaurs that will bring miraculous life-saving benefits to humankind. That sounds awfully like the DX virus has spread to the humans. And these dinosaurs were on Site C, the third island. The third island could have been used as a sort of quarantine area where they developed a cure or a vaccine. I mean, if all your dinosaurs were literally dying of this plague, of this virus, why not gather them all up, ship them off to another island and leave them there and study them to develop the vaccine? Quarantine the entire thing. That way they can continue production of their dinosaurs on Site B and then transport them to Isla Nublar, the showroom as you will. We also see obviously like these ruins on one of these islands, hinting at the fact that InGen could have wiped out this entire civilization by putting the DX virus there, again hiding a far darker and sinister overplot there. With how shady InGen is, I would not be surprised in that in the slightest. We know from various screenshots that it actually shows InGen's logo all over this dock and subsequent storage materials. And this is the thing which is extremely interesting. In the book, Richard comes across an email from Dr. Henry Wu, and this was dated 1988. The email had been printed out on paper, and which it reads as follows. InGen production update 12/18/88 from Henry Wu to all personnel. Subject DX tag and release. Live births will be fitted with the new Grim Batch field tags at the earliest viable interval. Formula or other feeding within the laboratory confines will no longer be done. The release program is now fully operational and tracking networks are activated to monitor. Now, initially, that sounds like they're releasing the dinosaurs into the wild, right? But what a stupid move. Why would you release dinosaurs which are infected with a disease out into the wild of your island? That doesn't make sense. What if they were tagging and releasing these dinosaurs on an island which was uninhibited, or so they thought, or wasn't one of the islands they controlled, so they could monitor it? But what they didn't bank on is when the ships were leaving these islands, dinosaurs were climbing aboard. This was confirmed in the book Jurassic Park. The raptors and Compsognathus were boarding the transport vehicles, clinging to the vessel, and thus that's how they escaped the island. The same thing could have happened here with the DX virus. They initially put them on Site C to try and contain it, but they escaped via other boats, or the boats going over there to monitor them. Either way you look at it, you wouldn't release dinosaurs which are severely infected out into the open. You'd keep them quarantined to stop the spread, to control the virus. And I believe that's what's happened here. That's why in the 1993 movie, we never see any of the infected, because they've already been moved. And the story could be that they stayed there, never affected any of the dinosaurs in a major way. That is, until the new movie comes out. But by then, InGen had already developed a vaccine, vaccinated some of its dinosaurs, and thus thought everything was fine. That is until people started going onto the island, spreading the disease, bringing it back to the mainland, and thus we have the plot of the new movie. So although we're not going to see the plague of madness in the new movie, the DX virus in the books was very much just like that, although they weren't zombies. But here's a question I would like to ask. Did you know about the DX virus in Jurassic Park? And do you think it was present during Jurassic Park the film? I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I highly recommend checking out all my other videos, like what was kept in the restricted section, what they kept in one of the darkest lagoons. It's all on the channel. And don't forget to subscribe, because I post videos on Jurassic Park every single week. And as always, a massive thanks to my YouTube members who are on screen now. Thanks guys, you keep the power on in the park. With an extra special mention to DVM Wannabe 1018 and our newest member, the Real Castronaut. Welcome. And if you came into contact with a dinosaur which had the DX virus, could your day get any worse? You bet Jurassic can. Catch you later.